Northeast, about 5-6 miles an hour. Just been a fairly smooth ride. Picked up a couple light bumps, a couple hours in the flight as we passed the front range over Denver in the Rockies. So do have to set your mind the fast seatbelt sign.
Today I want to compare two watches that are extremely popular in the Rolex Tudor lineup. The iconic Rolex Gmt Master Ii here on the right, and then the Tudor GMT here on the left. Vastly different price points, but I think they both give very interesting value propositions at each of their respective price points. So the Tudor is a very popular dive style kind of GMT watch. Received a lot of popularity, a lot of critical acclaim since it came out a couple years ago. 41 millimeters in diameter, 14.6 mil thick, 22 millimeters lug width on this rivet style bracelet, and then it tapers down to 18 millimeters. Lug to lug distance is 50 millimeters. So definitely a lot bulkier than the GMT Master II. This is sort of built on the Tudor Heritage dive watch platform, brings that 200 meter water resistance into a GMT watch. It's brushed on top of the lugs as well as the bracelet. Definitely more of a tool style nature to this watch. You can see there's polished sides on the case and the bracelet as well. This watch features an aluminum 48 click bi-directional rotating bezel, and then the lume on this watch is really fantastic and very bright, long lasting, and very legible. Screw down crown, 200 meters of water resistance. It features a true GMT function. The in-house caliber MT5652 features a 70-hour power reserve, beats at 4 Hertz, and is COSC certified. It has a matte dial, which is definitely more of a vintage Q in aesthetic. You can see on the hour hand, it's that Tudor classic snowflake hand. And then the GMT hand has sort of a shout out to that snowflake design as well. And it's a very long and red and legible GMT hand. You have a fold over safety clasp, which is very highly secure. And then you can see a nice polished milled out clasp there. And then ceramic ball bearings here. So you actually get 3 holes for micro adjustment, but there's no on-the-fly adjustment. It would have been nice to see Tudor implement the clasp system they have on the Tudor Pelagos. Then there's the contentious rivet style bracelet, which I think actually fits this watch really well. Just is really in line with the vintage Q and vintage aesthetic of this timepiece, but it can definitely be a little bit polarizing. You'll see some nice beveling here on the lugs, and you can see that this is the, Tudor calls it the burgundy and blue GMT coloration here. Delineates between nighttime on the top and then daytime on the bottom here. It's a very dark navy blue and almost looks black. Almost has sort of a Rolex GMT Coke type of color. And then you can see the numerals on the GMT bezel are a lot smaller and a lot more old school versus what you'll find on the GMT Master II, which is a lot more bold and a lot more modern looking. You'll see a date window here as well at the 3 o'clock position with no cyclops. Sapphire crystal with some internal AR coating. Slight dome effect as well. There's a Tudor Rose logo etched onto the crown there. At the 12 o'clock position, you'll see that it's actually the Tudor shield. A nice combination of different design cues from the Rolex Tudor lineage. I think it's executed very well. It's definitely a very heavy piece, and that's probably one of the downsides. Definitely on the thicker side at 14.6 mil thick. Day-to-day wearing comfort is definitely not the best, especially on the bracelet. The weight of this watch is approximately 200 grams, so it's definitely a lot heavier. The Rolex GMT actually comes in at only 135 grams, so it makes a huge difference. It definitely has some great wrist presence. You'll notice on the end links, it doesn't protrude. So the end links actually come out to exactly 50 millimeters. So that definitely helps the wearing experience and ensures that this watch doesn't overhang on the wrist. I think that Tudor did a great job to make sure that the wearing experience is as user-friendly as possible, except for the lack of the easy link or on-the-fly adjustment, which I think is an area of improvement for a potential next generation of this model. Let's take a look at the icon. This is the Rolex GMT Master II. I'm a huge fan of this watch. I especially like the black and the blue. The reference number is 126710 BLNR. This black and blue, I think, works very well and represents a step in the right direction as far as Rolex moving into the modern age with the first bi-color ceramic bezel. This is 40 millimeters in diameter, 12.1 millimeters thick, so a heck of a lot thinner than the Tudor GMT. 48.1 millimeters lug to lug with a total distance of 51 millimeters, since there is some end link protrusion here. 20 millimeters lug width on this oyster style bracelet with polished center links with no rivets. The 20 millimeters tapers down to a nice 16 millimeters, which I think is very elegant and very easy to wear. Now this bracelet does feature an easy link extension system. You get 5 millimeters of on-the-fly adjustability, which is definitely an advantage of this particular bracelet over the Tudor. Definitely more of a scratch magnet due to those polished center links versus the Tudor. The Tudor definitely has more of a tool watch aesthetic. There is a ceramic Cerachrome 24 click bi-directional bezel. And if I didn't mention this already, the Tudor has a 48 click. The bezel action on this is a lot quieter, a lot smoother. The knurling on the bezel is very easy to grip and to turn. I think Rolex has some of the best bezel grip in the business. The Submariner is also extremely easy to grip and to turn. This has the Chromolite blue lume, which is extremely legible and very bright and easy to read. And as I mentioned, because it has sort of these maxi indices, it's a little bit more legible in the dark versus the Tudor. Rolex uses 904L steel, which is a little bit softer, so a little bit more prone to scratches. However, it is a lot more corrosion resistant, so a lot more resistant to things like salt and sweat. It has a trip lock screw down crown and is 100 meters water resistant. This is also a true GMT function and features caliber 3285 with a chronergy escapement, allowing this watch to run to 70 hours. And this watch is superlative chronometer certified, meaning it's accurate to -2 +2 seconds per day. This watch has a black lacquer dial versus the matte dial on the Tudor, and then the maxi indices are finished in 18 karat white gold. There is a cyclops over the date at the 3 o'clock position. Love it or hate it, I think it does enhance the legibility of the date window. Very light, very easy to wear on wrist. The maxi style case definitely makes the watch look a little bit larger than the 40 millimeter diameter would suggest. Much lighter wearing versus something like the Tudor. Even though the Tudor is 41 millimeters, I think the biggest difference is the weight, the thickness. The Tudor is priced at $4,050 on the bracelet. The Rolex GMT Master II, if you can find it at retail, which I was incredibly fortunate to do so, it's priced at $9,500 on this oyster bracelet. Surprisingly, it retails for $9,700 on the Jubilee, which I find to be a little interesting. I'm not sure why this watch actually retails for more on the Jubilee. Maybe because there's more bracelet end links and the manufacturing process might be a little bit more involved for the Jubilee bracelet. I found that to be very interesting. The original GMT Master came out in the 50s and is just a very iconic model in Rolex's lineup. You really can't beat that level of timelessness. But the Tudor, I think, definitely offers some great value here, especially at a fraction of the price. $4,000, less than half of the retail price of the BLNR. And that's not even taking into consideration the aftermarket prices or the secondary market prices for the Rolex GMT Master II. I think these are trading at upwards close to $20,000. If you take that into account, the Tudor is a fifth the price of the Rolex GMT Master II. So some serious bang for buck here. You get sort of the heritage and the design lineage of Rolex. There's a lot of Rolex inspired DNA here in this Tudor, and you get a more vintage experience versus the Rolex GMT Master II. The Tudor is a lot more subdued and brings back a lot of the vintage aesthetics that are a little bit lost on modern day Rolexes. And I think in a lot of ways, Tudor represents what Rolex kind of used to be. It has a more utilitarian tool charm to it, and I think that's kind of what Rolex sort of used to represent before they kind of climbed up the horological echelon and kind of became a little bit more of a luxury status symbol. So hopefully that gives you guys a good idea of these two very important GMTs in the Rolex Tudor lineup. And hopefully through this video, you can get an idea of the similarities, the differences in these two timepieces. Let me know which one you guys would prefer. For me, you can't beat the timelessness of the GMT Master II. But I think that the Tudor GMT definitely presents itself very well here. There's really not a whole lot of watches out there at this price point that has the same level of heritage and history, that has the technology, the in-house caliber, and has design cues of a very timeless design from one of the most renowned brands in watchmaking. Hope you enjoyed this review, and be sure to drop some comments below. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't gotten a chance to do so yet. And with that, I will talk to you guys in the next one. Take care.